Good night, family. Good night. I always be forgetting to put this phone on silent. Okay. Hey, y'all. Good night, family. Hey, guys. Good night, y'all. Good night. Welcome, 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 welcome. Let me just get logged in right here really quickly. All right. There goes that. That's set up right here. All right, let's get back into this chat. I see there's a bunch of chat going on in here. Okay, let me see. Hmm. Oh, I am loving it. I am loving it. Yes. Well, I see Miss P is in here tonight. Good night, Miss P. Good night, my love. How are you? All right, let me see what's going on. Hey, Miss P. I see Connie Barnes. Mwah. Good night, Connie Barnes. Welcome, my love. Nice to see you. And let's see. We have, uh, I see Carol is in here. Good night, Carol. How are you, my love? And I see Mr. Dreams Up. Mm. Good night, Mr. Dreams Up. Good night. Welcome. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. And I see Miss Chelly is in the house. Good night, Chelly. How are you, my love? How are you? Good night, y'all. Good night. I hope you guys are having an amazing night. I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me tonight. Whew, y'all, February went just like that. Like the month is almost over. Like the month is almost gone, y'all. So listen, we just gonna get this thing wrapped up because we got one more show in a month and then it's off to March. And just so y'all know, yes, your girl is celebrating her birthday next month. So I'm super excited to do a bunch of things next month, y'all. I can't wait. So if you guys haven't already, go ahead and hit the like button. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and hit the like button if you haven't already done so. It is your girl Nessa here on Healing Your Silence, where on this channel we tap into unhealed wounds that have left you broken for a long time so we can actually get to the bottom of things and actually heal those wounds so we could be better, right? So my role here is to empower you to become your greatest self. And by doing so, some of our conversation might get a little bit ugly and they might feel a little bit intense. But the reality is, if we want to be better and we want to get better, we have to put in the work. So that's what we're here to do. So again, thank you guys so much. You could have been doing anything else with your night and you chose to hang out with me. Thank you so much. I couldn't ask you to do anything else. Thank y'all. So what was Carol saying? Oh, you wailing without a limp? Oh, I know you was doing some feet therapy and stuff like that. How's that going for you, Carol? Yeah, I know you've been doing stuff and taking back your life in control and doing a bunch of things. I really appreciate you sharing that information with us. And just to see you coming out of it and doing much better, I really pray that you have a speedy recovery and get back to being your greatest self as soon as possible. Walking with no limp. Listen, a round of applause for you, my love. A round of applause for you. When the enemy came to take you out, there was other plans that God has for you. And I see you definitely walking and living and breathing and being a living testimony that things do work when you trust in God, right? How you guys like the topic tonight? So we're talking tonight about trauma responses. So 3 different trauma responses that I wanted to share with us tonight. And I don't want to really drag it out long tonight or anything, but just go with the flow and let it flow. So the 3 trauma responses, first of all, before we even talk about trauma responses, do you guys really understand what trauma is? What really is trauma? And also, what are some of these traumas that you guys have experienced? I definitely want to talk about that a little bit, okay? So, trauma, for example, right? By textbook definition, trauma, by definition, is a body wound or shock produced by sudden physical injury as a form of violence or accident. A psychiatrist, right? A psychiatrist, they would refer to this as an experience produced by psychological injury or pain. Now, in our terms, right? A psychological abuse or injury that occurred is basically something that left you mentally broken or mentally damaged in by some ways, means, or shape, right? So I know a lot of times when we experience things, we don't really associate like trauma really. Okay, let me back it up a bit. Let me just backtrack a bit and wrap it up, right? So trauma is basically how the brain responds to an event. So if you've experienced something, your brain is now telling your body how to respond. So if you're going through something and you've had a traumatic experience, and I'll use an example of that, right? A car accident, for example. So if you're in a car and you collision, so the first thing that happens is that the body automatically freezes up and the body goes into a state of shock. So you're automatically frozen. And oftentimes when people meet in a car accident, the first thing they'll do is like, oh, I feel all right. Everything is fine. I feel okay, right? If you ask them if they're hurt or injured, the first thing they'll tell you is that, no, I'm okay. Everything is all right. But what happened is that the body experienced the trauma and the shock. So it's like really tensed up. And when you get that experience to a traumatic to a trauma, it now to a traumatic experience, it now creates trauma. Now the body is going to associate itself when things suddenly come upon it, and the body's going to respond. Either it's going to jump up and freeze, or it's going to think about running, right? So these are some of the things that we experience. Hey, Kanita. Mwah. Good night, my love. And I see my girl Kaya's in the house. Good night, sweetheart. Mwah. So the body tends to tense up at times when things happen to it, especially being in a car accident. Because the first thing you do is that before the impact, your body makes a sudden move because you're automatically going into either fight, flight, or freeze mode. And these are the responses that I want to talk about tonight and exactly what it looks like so we can even experience or talk more about that when it comes to even being in a narcissistic abusive relationship. What does that look like and how do you actually overcome it so that you could become better and not continue these cycles and repeat these things, right? So definitely want to go into that a little bit more. So back to the car accident. So the moment you experience that, you automatically shut up, you freeze up. You don't know what to do because something traumatic just happened and it scared you. So now the chemical balances in your brain is responding to this experience. Now it's associating, it might have been a rainy day, right? If it's a rainy day, normally those days accidents tend to happen more. Or even if it was a sunny day, but whatever was happening at the time, your body is registering this information and recording it so that next time when you're going through this type of experience or the weather, it's going to respond to the same kind of experience. And now you've incorporated what's known as a traumatic experience. So now you might be associating a rainy weather with trauma. And what people do sometimes when they're going through trauma, they tend to avoid it, right? Because the easiest thing is that if I don't go over there, then I won't have any problems. If I don't drive on a rainy day, then I won't have any accidents, right? But in reality, is that really solving the problem? Or is that just putting a band-aid on it? Exactly. It's just putting a band-aid on it. So in order to overcome some of these things, right? You might take short drives on a rainy day. Instead of doing long drives, if the accident or whatever happened on a rainy day, you might take short drives around the neighborhood so you can start becoming more comfortable in a situation like this and you start taking drives around the neighborhood. So this is that traumatic experience that your body just experienced. So now it's responding, right? So even if a robber, say for example, like let's do another example. If a robber came into your house to rob you, right? Which response would y'all use? Like which if someone came in your house, has a gun pointed to you, which response would y'all be using? Fight, flight, or freeze? No, for me, I'm gonna do freeze. I think based on the situation or the level of circumstances, based on the situation that I'm in, I might choose to freeze. I see comments coming in. Let me see. Fight. Okay. All right. So I see, okay. So I see Chelly says that she will fight. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you're not in imminent danger and it's not such a threat to your body or to your mind or to you as an individual. So you might want to fight. But for me, I don't know. Maybe based on the situation and the moment that I'm in, I might freeze up to give myself some time to process the information so I could know what my next move is going to be instead of making such a sudden move. But if you're familiar with these behaviors and certain things that are happening, then you might end up going through one of those fight, flight, or freeze mode. And another thing that I've learned and I've experienced is I remember I was working with it's not something I normally do. Like people with mentally challenged, that are more mentally challenged and have disability. I remember I was doing that as a part-time gig because normally I'm working in the office, but I was doing it as a part-time gig, and I wasn't experienced in taking these individuals out to the movies or doing things with them. So I had no experience in stuff like that. And I remember I took this, a team of us took the individuals out to the movie theaters. And this individual was really big. He was like 6 foot, like maybe like, I don't know, like, but he was bigger than me, but not only just in height, he had a large frame. His body was super large. And while we were in the movie theaters, he was sitting not too far from me, like pretty much next to me, basically. And I remember him starting to be fidgety. And I'm nervous because I'm not used to this kind of environment. And I already know this is a big dude. Like I'm like, yeah, I was a bit nervous. But then he started to walk around the movie theaters and I couldn't understand what was going on. All I could remember is him running out and running around to the concession stand. And me not fully experienced in how to handle a situation like this, I chase behind him because I feel responsible that he's my patient, right? And I'm supposed to be with him. So I went around the concession stand with him and was there trying to get him out. But he's like stuffing his face with all this food and just throwing things in his face and just eating, eating, eating. And I'm like scared, like, let's go. Let me tell you, that young man manhandled me. He tossed me and fling me. Listen, he manhandled me, okay? And then my hand got cut. Then he ran down the hallway and went over to Carvel and did the same thing, started digging up in the freezer in the Carvel place. And I'm running behind him to get him under control. And he's like dragging me because he had a thing around his waist to hold him like a leash. Anyway, he was dragging me. And I remember when I was inside the Carvel with him and I was having this experience, I was just like, I was just hyperventilating. I was just like screaming and hyperventilating, right? And I remember calling the supervisor, and I went off. I cussed his behind out. How could you put me in a situation like this where I'm not trained? I told you I have no experience, and I did not want to take this kid out into the open like this because I don't know how to handle him. What am I supposed to do in a situation like this? Look at what happened, and I'm just cussing him, cussing him, cussing him. Let me tell you, the other staff came, and we started to go back to the house. This young man is in the back seat of the car, pooping on the seats in the back seat of the car. Now, I just had this crazy experience with you, and then you're pooping on the back seat of the car inside the vehicle while we're moving it. Listen, I was so scared. I was losing it. I did not want to be around this person at all. I was in the front seat of the car heading back to the house. I opened the car, and yes, it was a moving vehicle, but I just wanted to get out. Let me out of this vehicle now. I just want to be out. Just let me out of this vehicle. I don't care. I didn't care what was going to happen to me. I was so scared of this young man and what he was doing because of the experience I just had with him. And I was just hyperventilating and screaming, and anxiety and trauma and everything is happening to me at this time. And the vehicle was moving, and I attempted to get out the vehicle, and the co-worker that was driving the car, he was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You can't get out the car like that. You can't go out the car." I said, don't you dare touch me. Don't talk to me. Just want out. Like, can't stay in this vehicle. Like, you don't see what's happening here? I want out. Let me tell you, he was not trying to let me out the car, y'all. He was not trying to let me out the car because he figured out it's dark out, it's dangerous and everything. Felt like I was in more danger being in the car locked in here with this individual. No, you're pooping on the back seat in the car, just like that. So I don't know what you're going to do with it. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. Okay, I'm out. So I opened the car door, and he realized that I was very serious about getting out the car at all costs. I didn't care what it was, that because I was already traumatized and scared. Long story short, I got out the car and started walking to the house by myself. And he refused to let me walk by myself. So he was driving alongside with me. I didn't care. I was just out. I was not going to be in that vehicle, and I need to take care of myself. So what I've experienced there was that I had to go to therapy. I had to go to therapy. I had to seek counseling and get help. Started to go to therapy because I was so traumatized. I could not return back to work. There was no way I was going to be working in an environment like that because I was very fearful for my life. I felt like they didn't protect me. They didn't make sure that I was safe. I did not feel safe. I was threatened. So now I know that my environment was threatened and I was fearful for my life. I didn't want to be around it. I couldn't continue. So I started to seek therapy and counseling in order to get help with what I was going through. Now, while going through the therapy sessions, they told me I needed to start watching, doing movies, doing movie nights at home with my children in order to overcome this thing. Guys, I know I'm talking a lot. I'm sorry. But don't forget to hit the like button, guys. I know we're having a good conversation, but go ahead and hit the like button, y'all. Thank you so much. I remember the therapist telling me to start at home with the children and watch movies with them, that create movie nights. And I know I remember him saying start off with like Tinkerbell, like a Tinkerbell movie series. This way I could get into watching more and more movie. I'm gonna be honest with you, I did have a movie theaters in the basement. I had it set up, but I couldn't do it, y'all. I was so scared. I avoided it. I didn't want to be nowhere near it. I avoided it. I didn't go downstairs in the basement to be nowhere near watching a movie. So I didn't watch TV. I didn't do all of these things because I was so traumatized. So I started to avoid it. But what it did for me was that it just prolonged my healing process. It just prolonged it and made it so much longer. And spontaneously, and this happened January 29th, 2020, to be exact. That's how much it traumatized me. I know the dates offhand, okay? But when it happened to me, I was just frozen. Yes, I went through therapy, but I prolonged my healing journey. I prolonged the part of me that needed to heal from that traumatic experience. So trauma doesn't always have to be an intimate setting. It doesn't have to be a sexual setting. It doesn't have to be with a partner. It could be with anyone, and you have that experience and now you associate it with something else. So for me, the movie that came out recently was Warrior King, I think. Woman King. I know it sounds crazy, but that was my first time going to the movies since that experience. And I went with my girls, and I'm telling you, me and my babies sat there, and the movie was so good that I forgot about my traumatic experience because I wanted to do something with my daughters. And I figured, what's the best way? Then let's go out to the movies. Let's just do something so we could be intimate together. We could spend quality time together because I do value quality time, and I wanted to be around my babies. So we went to the movies, had a great time, and I realized that I did it. I wasn't scared anymore. I wasn't afraid to go to the movies, and I actually overcome my fear and my traumatic experience and went to the movies. It can become hot because you know why, Miss P, and I'm happy that you brought this comment up, right? So you could end up in the hospital with a trauma, like for real, for real. And I know this is a simple part of it that I'm talking about with my experience, but I also want you guys to share with me some of your experience that you had, some of the traumatic experience that you've had. Like, what did that look like for you? Or even, did you fight Did you fight? Was it a fight, flight, or freeze experience? Like, what was this like for you, right? So yes, you could end up in the hospital for stuff like this because it does have a psychological impact on you. So can you imagine though? Like let's get into the deep of it now, okay? Being with a toxic, narcissistic partner, okay? Let's get into it. Being with a toxic narcissistic partner, and based on what I just explained with my experience about the car accidents and having a traumatic experience with an individual, a client, a patient, whatever, right? Being in a relationship with one of these people, narcissistic people who are heartless, they are cold, they do not have empathy, and they do not sympathize with you, and they constantly keep on inflicting wounds day in, day out, and it's mental abuse, mental manipulation, and some of it is physical abuse. And I know plenty of you guys here in this huddle right now, in this group, in this chat, in this family right now, have that experience of going through these traumatic experiences with these toxic narcissistic people, because women are toxic and narcissistic too. So women are not excluded from this. Men are toxic and narcissistic too, and not excluded from this. So you know it goes both ways, right? But it's being able to recognize these narcissistic toxic traits. They're heartless. They're cold. They do not have a soul. They're empty. So yes, they walk around like people like you and I. Of course they do. But they're empty inside. They don't have no substance. They don't have no base. They don't have no core. There's no soul there. You could be knocking and ain't nobody home. That's how hollow these people are. They don't have nothing underneath them. But in order to woo you, they do the love bombing and they do all of these nonsense in order to get you there. And that alone, the love bombing experience that you go through, create a traumatic experience on your brain. It messes with you because that's not the person's true identity. That's not the true person that's showing up to be with you. It's not. So now you fall in love like that dopamine, that high, like that first high when you get that first hit, and you want to get more hits. So you keep going back for more and you keep going back for more. That's what they do. They come with their false representative and they woo you and sweep you off their feet. They're the sweetest thing ever. They're the nicest thing ever. And they do this in order to reel you in until what's going to happen? That mask is going to slip and the true person behind it is going to fall. It's going to show, it's going to expose because y'all know they cannot pretend for too long. Just a little quick secret too. They have a 2-week window. They have to either get you married in 2 weeks, get you pregnant in 2 weeks, planning a whole life and everything. And listen, y'all, keep your eyes open for these monsters. They're out here, okay? They're ruthless. And you won't know what hits you until it hits you. You won't know. And what that's doing is that dopamine because they're toxic, they're unhealthy. And how you know? You just feel like you're in a rush, like you have to get this done right now. Like it's like time sensitive. You have to move on it right now. It never feels peaceful. It never feels calm. It never feels like something loving and something that you want to nurture. It does not feel like that. It just feels like, oh my God, I have to get this done. You feel pressured into doing it. And what's that going to do? It creates a psychological abuse. Like it starts to mess with your mind. It starts to mess with your emotions, your feelings. And now that first high that they gave you, you want it back. You want more of it. So you keep going back for more. And even when you start to recognize that this is not healthy for me, this is not something good for me, this is abuse. This is not something that makes sense because your brain is trying to put everything together with the experience. And I know my family in here right now, right? When that narcissist dragged you, and I know it's not one of us in here talking about this, I know it's multiple. So I know I could talk and I could use this reference. When that narcissist dragged you across the floor, physically hurt you, physically harm you, put their hands on you, that create a traumatic experience. But that's where the word trauma bonding comes from, because after they've created this traumatic experience and your brain and your mind is already wrapping itself around this, what's happening next is that they tend to comfort you. So after they've inflicted these wounds and hurt you, they come back now to comfort you. In your right frame of mind, you know it's sick. That is sick and psychotic. But guess what? Because you got that first hit in that love bombing phase, it makes you want to go back to them. It makes you want to go back for more, because you keep wanting to find that representative. You want to find out who's that person that they showed you in the beginning. Who, like, you spend the entire relationship, the entire time trying to figure out, where's this person that you showed me in the beginning? Hey, Shamelia. Good night, my love. You spend your whole time trying to figure out, who is this person that they showed you in the beginning. So you spend the entire time chasing them, trying to figure out who it is. So one minute they give you a little bit of love with a whole lot of pain. So a little bit of love and a whole lot of pain. And the love ain't real. It's infatuation. And you're not really in love with this person, y'all, because love does not feel like that. Love does not hurt. Love is very patient. Listen, if something is going slow and steady, and you feel protected, you feel safe in it, that's love. That's love that you're walking into. But if you feel traumatized and scared, just like we talked about earlier, in a car accident, or even having an experience where somebody made your presence, your safety, you feel threatened, your environment feels threatened, that's not love. And if you guys are experiencing this thing, I'm pleading with you, you need to get out. Do not continue to stay in these environments, because you will be hospitalized. You will be fighting for your life, for your soul, trying to get your sanity back. If you are dealing with people like this who constantly gives you emotional highs and lows, and there's no stability, they're not stable, you do not need to associate yourself with people like this. It is unhealthy, and it's going to have a more lasting impact on you. So while you're experiencing these things, and when you're ready and you start to heal, if you really don't go deep into this thing and start healing and ripping off the band-aid to go within and start healing, just like how I prolonged my healing journey when it came to getting over that experience at the movie theaters, I went to avoidance. So that was me, that was flight. I took off. I decided I'm not going to face this. I'm not going to watch any movies. I'm not going to do anything. So now I robbed my kids from going to the movies. So I took away their happiness from watching the movies or going to the movie theaters because of my own trauma. So sometimes your trauma is not only affecting you, but it also affects the people around you. So it's easier. I know I'm saying it's easier, but it's much easier when you actually start to rip the band-aid off, go deep within, and start healing these wounds. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. But if you're serious about your healing and your healing journey, you will make the effort to continue to push forward and to keep going. It's hard. It's raw. It gets ugly at times. And sometimes it's low down uncomfortable. You hear me? This morning, y'all, I was taking my children to school this morning, and a song came on. I think it was Mary, Mary, I Just Can't Give Up Now. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that song. If y'all want to type it in the chat so y'all could get it and look at that song. Hey, Demetria. Mwah. That song, I think it's Mary, Mary that sings the song, I Just Can't Give Up Now. Let me tell you, I was dropping off my babies to school this morning, and that song came on my playlist, and I just can't give up now. I've come too far. And from where I started from to where I'm at right now, I just can't give up now. He brought me this far. He didn't bring me this far to turn back now. He did not bring me this far to give up on me. Uh-uh. So whatever experiences that you guys are having and how hard it might seem like you can't get through your days, let me tell you, you can get through your days. And it's okay to start over. It's okay to start from the ground up and rebuild yourself, but build it how you want it. Be the one who's going to dictate how you want your journey to be, how you want your life to be, because guess what? If you continue to avoid the healing process and you continue to avoid your healing journey, what's going to happen is you're going to delay your process. You're going to delay your love life. You're going to delay your happiness. You're just going to really delay everything. But sometimes it's not time yet. Sometimes it's just not time yet. But I could tell you, the longer you put off your healing, the longer you put off putting in that work and doing the shadow work. Because the shadow work for me, really, in that situation was really just to start watching movies in the house. Because I'm in my house and I felt safe in my house. So, okay, I'm in a safe environment because my safety was threatened. So that's why I now am associating the movies, any movie, with my safety. So I didn't want to watch a movie because I felt like I wasn't safe. It's the same thing, guys. You want to love again. You want to be in love. You want to experience love. But when you were in love with someone, you felt hurt. So now you have this traumatic experience with love, right? But did love really hurt you? Or that person who pretended to love you hurt you? Who really hurt you? It was not love. So don't hold on to that traumatic experience. Don't hold. Whoa, 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 whoa. Back it up. I'm gonna come back to that traumatic experience. We got a celebration over here. We got a whole celebration, y'all. Family, family, family. Y'all. Stop. Give me a second. Give me a second of your time. Say what now? Read this comment, y'all. Read this comment. You just see that? Congratulations, Shamelia. Congratulations, Shamelia. Say what now? Say what now? Woo! What? Girl, congratulations. Y'all drop some congratulations in the chat, please. Y'all listen. Shamelia says she got her divorce finalized yesterday. Woo! Girl. Listen, I'm so happy for you because I know the pain. I know what it feels like going through this. Your healing journey is going to be so much more fun. Congratulations, my love. Listen, where my phone at? Oh, it's up here. Listen, congrats, girl. Let me put my congrats in the comment section, okay? Listen, I'm so happy for you. And you know what? I'm so happy for you, my love. Listen, it's not easy. For those of you guys who have not been married to a narcissistic, toxic person, let me tell you, save yourself. For those of you guys who are watching this on the replay or even watching it now and you have not been married to a narcissistic, toxic person, I'm begging you, I'm pleading with you, save yourself the headache. You do not want to be with this person. You do not want to have any financial ties with this person. You don't want no ties at all with this person. Don't do it. Listen to these videos, watch these videos, and listen and look at the chat, look at the comment section. You don't celebrate when somebody separates. Why would we be celebrating somebody's separation? That's not what it is about. But you know what the real issue is? What God puts together, let no man break apart. When God puts it together, it's done by divine hands. Okay? So this could not break apart if God had put it together. Okay. So it's not a mourning, it's a celebration. Okay. It's not a breakup like Lisa said last week. It's not a breakup. It's not a breakdown. It's a break up. Okay. So it's an opportunity for you to level up. Get to your best self. Get to the better part of you that you got stuff to do. Say what now? You was with this person for 20 years? A torture? Talk about traumatic experience. Talk about psychological abuse. Talk about mental manipulation. Talk about robbing you from your youth. When you say let go and let God, man, you was with this person for 20 plus years. 20 plus years, your youth is gone. Damn. 4 kids in 20 plus years with this person of mental abuse, mental manipulation. I don't know if it's physical. You do not have to disclose that. That's your personal information. But we get the gist of stuff on here, okay? I listen. Congrats. It was a long time coming. And when the time was right, it manifested and it happened. And I'm so grateful. I'm so happy that you're now getting a chance to see what freedom looks like, what it looks like. Do not be afraid to love. Do not listen. If you could take anything from me, love did not hurt you. Love always wins. Love always win. Love did not hurt you, Shamilia. I know the pain you went through. You have your babies through this experience. Those babies are a constant blessing, okay? They came here because God has a purpose for them and for something for them to do. They're a blessing. No matter how they came about, they're a blessing. Cherish them and do the best that you can with them. Show them the better part of you, because it's better for them to have one healthy parent than 2 toxic parents living in the same house, cannot even show them love and respect and to show them what tomorrow is going to look like. So I applaud you for doing this, because this got to be big. You was with this person since you was 16 years old. 16 years old. Now you're 43. Golly. Damn. Girl, I ain't mad at you. I did 13 years, I think. And I started to, like, at 10, I was like trying to get out. So can you imagine? At 10 years, I was just like, something's got to give. Something has got to give. Like, I can't do this no more. God, there's no way this is what you want for me. This is what you want for me? Torture? Torment? Someone never supporting you? I'm a go-getter. Go for what I want. Like, I'm never satisfied. Never. I always want to improve myself, build upon myself, continue to grow, evolve, be better constantly. And having a supportive partner alongside me to do stuff like this, man, we would do wonders. But guess what? Having a partner who constantly tear you down, bring you down, belittle you, disrespect you, calls you out your name, man, I'm not playing that. Like, we're not doing that. We are so not doing that. Okay? Value yourself, respect yourself, and know who you are as a person. Find out who you are, get to know your worth. Because if we knew our worth, and I'm not saying you, if we knew our worth, we would never say it was someone who treat us like that. If we knew our worth, our value, and our purpose, we would never stay with somebody who treats you like that. And it's not just men, okay? Because women do things like this. I definitely want to do a duo with my brother for him to come on for us to talk about the Jezebel, the female narcissist, because they're horrible. Horrible, the female narcissist, okay? They would make a man feel this small, like this small, okay? The flip side of what we go through as female, the men go through the same thing as well too. Where the woman will make them feel this small, disrespect them, call them out their name, and make their manhood feel this small. It's toxic, it's unhealthy, and we do not support stuff like that. You need to uplift your man, uplift your partner, support them in whatever they're doing. It's a team effort. It's a helpmate. Read the scriptures, it's there. You need your helpmates. Y'all are there to help each other. That's really what it is. But if you tearing down each other, there's no growth there. That's a dead end. That's a dead relationship. If y'all can't pour into each other, that's a dead relationship. It is going nowhere. The longer you stay in that thing is the more toxic it becomes, the more unhealthy it becomes, the more you lose your youth, the more you lose your sanity. You cannot stay, there's no growth there. You cannot grow. Water. If you're pouring into someone and they're pouring into you as well, you guys are both watering each other. And when you water something and nurture it, it blooms, it blossoms, it flourishes, it grows, it evolves, it expands. And just like plants, right? They pollinate, right? They go from one to the other and the birds move the pollination. That part of science, I don't know if y'all all missed that part of class. Just saying. But that whole germination process that takes place, they have to now drop the seeds in different places and it grows more and it springs and it blossoms and it blooms more. It's the same thing. We were put on this earth to produce, to generate more people, to reproduce and continue to grow and expand. But if you're in an area where you're being covered, like you're being trampled on, constantly hammering you with negative words, negative constantly, how would you grow? How would you feel good about yourself to grow? How? It's impossible. The longer you stay in these things is the worse, the longer it takes, the harder it is. Because now you've associated a relationship with trauma. Look at that traumatic experience. Now trauma, you associate relationship with trauma. So now here goes these bitter women and bitter men that goes out into society saying that there's no good woman out there or there's no good men out there. No, there is on both sides. There are good men out there. But are you really doing the work for yourself to attract a good man, to be in the presence of a good man? Are you doing the work to be in the presence of a good woman, though? Are you really trying to be with a good woman? Do you even know what a good woman looks like? Do y'all even know what a good man looks like? You've spent so much time with this narcissistic, toxic person that you forget what good looks like. So the work you got to put in, the level of work that you got to put in to get this job done is going to take some time. It's going to take some deep, raw shadow work. You're going to have to rip the Band-Aid off. And you know what it is too? You're going to have to be vulnerable. That's the part where you got to now learn to be vulnerable. So even when you meet somebody new, the one advice I could give to you tonight is do not go into anything with when I say any expectation, don't do it. When you walk into something with an expectation, or you basically have a textbook, right? This is one of my books here, right? But you have a book and it's a manual and instructions on this is the first step by week 1, day 1, day 2. This is what it's supposed to be or what's supposed to be looking like. Let me tell you something. You're setting up yourself one for failure. Do not go into anything with any expectation and don't do it. You are hurting the thing that needs watering. You are hurting the thing that needs to be nurtured. Don't do it. Let it be free. Let it be free and watch it blossom. Let it be free and watch it grow. You go in there with expectation. You know what's going to happen? When the other person does not do the things that you're expecting them to do, all of a sudden they do not fit in your book. Oh, that's a red flag. Oh, that's alarming. No, you need to back off and allow people to be who they are so they could show you their true self. Too many times, we oftentimes trying to dictate what the other person is supposed to do, and they never get a chance to live. They never get a chance to breathe and to be their true, authentic self because now they're trying to fit in and to fill a shoe that you gave them to wear that does not belong to them because you're pouring out your trauma onto that person. That's wrong. You can't do that. You have to put in the work for yourself. You have to put in the work necessary to get past these traumatic experiences. 20 years, let me tell you something, Shamilia. More power to you, my love. More power to you because it takes a lot of strength to even walk away from something like that. It takes a lot of strength to get up and say, I want out of this thing. I want to go. I want to let it go and be done with it. But when you trust God to lead you and you lean onto his understanding and not your own, he will direct your path. In all thy ways, acknowledge him in all, not some of your ways, in all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Standing tall today, I'm pretty sure if you had to look back at yourself a couple years ago, before you started, you probably never knew that you would have made it today to get through this. But God had plans for you and he wanted to see you through. So he allowed you to go through the experience because now you need to be a voice of reason for somebody else. You need to help somebody else who's going through something to let them know that it don't matter what you're going through. You can get out of it. God does have a plan for you and he's very strategic about how he goes about this plan for you. But you got to be ready. You have to be ready to put in the work and to get the results out of it that you're trying to accomplish. You have to be ready for the work because when he starts working on you and start doing the work, things are going to move just like this. And before you know it, things are happening back to back to back because remember, God's timing, not your timing. Hey, Deborah. Good night, sweetheart. It's God's timing. It's not your own. So the more you continue to allow him to lead you and to point you in the right direction, he will direct your path. He knows your heart desire. He knows the storm. He knows the pain that you've been through. And he will not put somebody in your life that is not conducive for you. That's not someone who's not going to help you to be better. And if you find yourself being in a relationship or talking or dating someone who does not empower you or uplift you to be better, or you don't even feel safe around this person, trust and believe that's not your person. That's not your person. Leave. Let it go. Not everyone that comes around you is meant to be in your life and to be there with you. Not everyone is there for that purpose. Sometimes you have to let them go. But something I've learned along the way, and I apply that every day to my life, is I allow God to lead me and to point me in whatever direction he wants me to go. And something that he did for me is that everyone who comes into my life, I realize they're handpicked. He's very selective of the people that are in my life. Everyone in my life is handpicked. And I'm saying that not because I'm trying to discredit anyone or uplift anyone in my life. Let me tell you, they're handpicked. God selects the people that he wants in my life. So when you start to trust God and to lean on to his understanding and do the shadow work and get the healing job done and allow him to use you as a vessel, he will handpick the people are going to fall off. You're no longer going to have certain friends. They're going to fall off because you guys no longer speak the same language. You're on a different level because God is now teaching you things. And now you're going to start to have that spirit of discernment. And when you have that spirit of discernment, people not going to be able to stand up next to you. They're not going to be able to be around you because it don't fit. It's not going to work. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable. And they can't stand around you for too long. Allow God to use you. Allow him to do the things that he promised you and that he said that he's going to do. He will come through for you. He will. Lean on to his word. Hold him to his word. If you have to go into fasting and praying and sit down and talk to God and say, listen, you promised me this. You said if I did this and that, this was going to happen. Now I'm holding you to your word. Come through. I'm holding you to it and I need you to come through for me. Too long I've been going through this. Too long I've been experiencing this and I need you to come through for me. Talk to God, build a relationship with him so it's a constant basis. And it's not just you feeling uncomfortable because it's when you need something. No. Get to know who you are. Get to find you. So this way you can face these traumas. You can face these experiences because let me tell you something. They are real. What you experienced was real. Don't discredit it. Don't let anyone discredit your experience and what you went through. What you went through was as real as it can be. It's just as real as the ground that you walk on. So how do you heal from this? You have to face it. You have to face it. Hold God to his word. Yes, Miss P. Give him back his word. Give him back his word. Hold him to it and let him know that you promised me this. You said this is what it's going to look like. And the narcissist was there as a lesson. The narcissist was there. The people that have hurt you. Now let's get into it, y'all. The people that were there to hurt you, that thought they were doing you wrong. Look at how you are coming out. Look at the things that you're doing outside of this person now. Look at how you're blossoming and look at how you're blooming into the person that you have been ordained to be and to become. And if you look back at that person that you left behind, I promise you they're right where you left them. They are right where you left them. Maybe a new weave, maybe a new haircut, but they're right where you left them, if you know what I'm talking about. But look at you every day, one foot in front of the other. You are evolving, you are growing, you are manifesting the love, the truth, the promises that God has for you. You are manifesting them because guess what? You came, and y'all know, you came face to face with the devil because the devil came to take you out because their job is to rob, kill, steal, and destroy you, right? They came face to face with you to hurt you. But that couldn't stop you. That couldn't tear you down and that couldn't break you because you're still standing. Now they got to go back to the sender. They got to go back to who sent them to destroy you, to face their punishment with them because they couldn't get the job done. They couldn't take you out. They couldn't break you down. They couldn't destroy you because you're still standing. That's your testimony that you're still standing. Watching them suffer, it ain't your business whether they're suffering or whatever they're going through, because best believe it, you mess with one of God's children, one of his chosen ones, you gonna get it. You're gonna have he said he's gonna torture them, and he already says that vengeance is his. But when you're going through the situations and you're going through the pain and you're going through the hurt, you want to get back at them so bad. You want to see them suffer. Like you want to see them get their karma. You want to see them get their punishment. You want to see them get whatever is coming for them. You want to see them get it. But it ain't your business. I'm sorry to say it, but it ain't your business. You do not need to spend so much energy and so much time worrying about them and what's going on in their life. Why don't you put that energy into yourself? All that time and energy that you feel like you need to invest in what's behind you, what you left, why didn't you stay then if you're so much worried about it? If you're so concerned about what's going on in their life, why didn't you just stay? You know it's torture. They put you through the torture, so you know what you experienced. You went through it. You experienced it. Nothing changes. The same thing. It's the same person. Same person, next victim. Same person, next victim. Different person, different victims. That's all it really is. And that's why it's so important for you to do the work. Because think about it. The same good person that you were in the relationship with that toxic person is the same person you are when you get out. So don't be out of it trying to be tough. Now, oh, I'm not loving nobody. Oh, I'm not doing this and carrying on with your foolishness. Nah, stop the foolishness. Be you. Be true to who you are as a person. Be connected to your identity. If you are a good person then, you are still a good person now. You did not change, because just as how the narcissist did not change who they are, they just changed their victim. It's the same thing for you. You are the same good person then. Don't come out here now to punish somebody else for what you experience over there. Don't punish somebody for what you experience. It has nothing to do with the next person. That's why the healing process and the healing journey is so important, because you need to wrap up what you experience over here, healed from it, and recognize that that individual hurt you, but you're still a good person. Create healthy boundaries. Thanks, Deborah. Create healthy boundaries. Start respecting yourself. Start loving yourself, because the way how you treat yourself and the things that you do for yourself, that's how you're telling people to treat you. That's the type of environment that you're creating, and that's how you're telling people to treat you. It's important for you to recognize who you are as a person, recognize your worth, and be mindful of the things, the decisions that you're making, because it's going to impact you and the people around you. So if you think that you're going to be mean and bitter, Who's holding up? Who's having that fester, that unhealthy heart? Who's sitting there with a heavy heart? For what? You gonna make one person that gave you a nasty experience and then you didn't realize that it was spiritual. You were under a spiritual attack. That was spiritual. It's not, that's why you couldn't understand it. That's why you couldn't make sense out of it, because it's nonsense. There's no way you could make sense out of nonsense, because it's just nonsense. So we sitting here trying to make sense out of this thing, trying to make it work. It cannot work, because that's a double-minded person, and a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. So there's no way you are going to get something healthy out of this. There's no way something good was going to come out of this, because the person is unstable. They're only nice one day because you're saying that you're going to leave or something needs to get done. So they're nice one day, and then by the next day, they're back to their old self again. That's not somebody who's consistent. That's not somebody who shows up being their true, authentic self. That's somebody who's unstable in all their ways. There's no stability there for you. There's no, one day it's hot, next day it's cold. That's inconsistency. That would drive you crazy. That person is unstable in all their ways. Okay. Let me see. Shamila said, when I turned back to God, that's when he delivered me once again. Amen. Hey, listen, I hear you. Because the only way to get out of this thing is to really to start to have a relationship with God, and to sit down and go through the things that you've experienced and talk to him about it, so he can bring you back to who you are. Go back to the originator. Go back to God. Go back to the source. Go back to the source. You cannot go wrong, because he said that the temple is within you. So if the temple is already within you, it's you. You have to really do the work. But he's there to guide you. He's there to uplift you. He's there for you as your support. He's there. But it's all up to you. You got to put in that work, and you got to get it done. And the longer you prolong doing the work and hiding from and living in that toxicity, living in it, the more you continue to do it, is the longer your healing process. Because what you're going to do now is you're going to start projecting your insecurities onto the next person. You're going to start projecting you onto someone else and expecting for them to be the reason that you're going to be healed. It don't work like that. It really don't. The narc tried but failed. God is in control, and I give him all the praise and the glory. Amen to that, my love. Yup, absolutely. I'm with you there, Shamilia. I'm so proud of what you're doing. I'm so really proud for you to know that you guys are really, you're really doing the work, like I remember years ago when we started doing some of this that we're doing, because I know we started with Hario, and we over there with Hario. He's about to be on in a couple of minutes, so I think I'm probably gonna pop over there for a little bit. But when we was in the chat with Hario, and to see that we're sitting there and hearing these things, to see that we're not alone in the things that we've experienced, we're not alone with the things that we've gone through, but not knowing what narcissism is, not knowing what these things are, not having proper guidance, not proper information and resources to help us get out of this situation. That's one of the reasons that we stayed there longer. And being told that that is love. So you will sacrifice your happiness, your peace for love. That is not love. Love is free. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not boastful. Love does not hurt. Love feels like something unheard of, something that's not of this world. You get to feel so free. It's that pure innocence, like a child, like childlike. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to feel like you're free. You're able to be yourself. You're in your childlike state, and you're not afraid. So how are you going to know if you're with the right person or this person is for you? You won't be afraid when you're with them. You'll feel safe. You also feel like you can be yourself. You can be free to be yourself, and you're not walking around on eggshells, being uncertain because you don't want to say something to upset the other person. You don't want to do anything to offend them, to upset them. You just can't be yourself, and you're walking around tiptoeing on eggshells. That's not what it's supposed to look like. That's not. You want to be with someone who, this is one of the things that I could tell you. When you know you're with your person or that person is for you, they'll trigger. some of your wounds. They will trigger some of your unhealed wounds. But there's a catch to that. When they trigger your unhealed wounds, you don't run. You actually want to heal those wounds. They trigger it. And you now, like, okay, what do I do? You actually are now faced to deal with it, to heal those wounds, to actually go through the process when you're with someone who cares for you and you're with your person. They will trigger your wounds, but you guys can heal it together. It's not someone who uses private information, and that's something that you want to pay attention to as well. When someone has shared personal private information with you, and you realize that that person now is using back the information as a weapon to weaponize the information, run. Just don't even ask no questions. Don't even wait for them to finish the sentence. Just be out. Just go. Because if you're being vulnerable with someone because you feel comfortable and you feel safe and you feel like you could trust that person, and they're in turn going to use that information as a weapon to weaponize it against you in order just to gain control, to hurt you, that's not somebody that you want to be around. That's not going to be a healthy relationship. It's going to be toxic. And before you know it, you guys are going to be separated. You guys are going to be arguing and fighting because now the trust has been broken. But until you do the work, you won't know to recognize these things and to see them, because there's always small tell signs that will let you know what type of person you're dealing with and what to expect. Put in the work. I know it's hard and I know it's going to take some time. Put in the work. You'll get through it. You'll be fine. I did leave the description in the description box below, all the contact information and ways how you could get in touch with me. If you want to do a one-on-one session with me and you feel comfortable, absolutely go ahead and let's get into it and talk about it. But it's very necessary for you to recognize when you're having these trauma responses. And if you, instead of running, fight, right? You say fight is one of your trauma responses, flight or freeze. So whichever trauma responses applies to you, fight, flight, or freeze, choose the one that you feel that's going to help you to overcome your traumas. But in all reality, patience. Patience is the key to helping you to overcome these traumatic experiences. And it's not just you. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to be patient enough with yourself to give yourself enough time to heal. You've been with this person for however long. It could be 3 months, 6 years, 20 years. It doesn't matter how long you've been with this person. Not because you walk out of it a year ago, 6 months ago, does not mean that you're healed. If you're not doing the work, it's just as if it's your day one. If you're not doing the work, you could add time onto it and said, oh, I've been out of it for 30 years, 20 years. But if you did not do the work, it's just the same as if you just came out of it yesterday. The work is necessary. It's not longevity for the amount of time that you've been out of it that's going to do the healing process. No. It's you actually facing the things that caused the trauma. Go back to the root of it. How did you become this way? Go back to your childhood days. Go back to how your parents raised you. And it's unfortunate that you do have to go back to that part of it. I had to do my work too. I had to see that, how did I become an enabler? Became an enabler. I was enabling these behaviors. I was tolerating this thing because I became a caregiver at an early age. I was caring for my younger sister at an early age. I had to grow up and be a mom. So I was forced into nurturing. I had to nurture her, care for her, and be there for her at a young age because my mom was not there. But that's how I had to learn about how my trauma started. How did I become a codependent person? How did I become a people pleaser, wanting to please people? No, doing that. No, I refuse to. It's important for us to go back to the source, go back to how your childhood, how it was set up. Because oftentimes we get painted a picture that this is how it was and this is what it is. But the reality is, you have to go back into your childhood traumas for yourself. You have to go back into where it started. Where did things originate from? And that's the shadow work. Because then it's not for you to hate the people that are around you, because they did the best that they could with the resources that they had. They did the best that they could with whatever information and whatever resources that they had. So for you, you have to really tap back into your childhood days. What was it like growing up in the household? What was it? What were some of the responsibilities? What were some of the things like as a childhood? And if you were in a narcissistic household with narcissistic parents, chances are you were exposed to narcissism at an early age. So you were not too far from being attracted to a narcissist, because it's a familiar spirit, it's familiar grounds, it's familiarity. And what we always do, right? Where things are most comfortable, where things feel like, it's easy. We always find the easy way out. But if we really want to get free from these traumatic experiences, the fight, flight, or freeze mode, right? If we really want to get free from these traumatic experiences, we have to face these things and stop avoiding them. So stop with the avoidance and face these things. Because when you avoid them, you're going to repeat the trauma. You're going to repeat the same cycle all over again, because you have not done the work. You have not taken the time to tap in and go in a little bit deeper. You are going to repeat the same traumatic experience, and it's just going to become a cycle. And you keep repeating the cycle over and over and wondering, why can't I heal from this thing? You have not done the work. That's why you keep repeating it. And I don't understand sometimes when people sit here and want to know that, when is the narcissist going to hoover me? For real, though. For real, for real, for real. For real. You want to know when they're going to hoover you? Why do you care? Why? For what? No, no, that's none of your business. You have so much more valuable things to do. You have so much more things to do with your time. Go start a business. Go start a non-for-profit organization. Go start something. Go help somebody. Go do something. Do something. Don't sit here and waste your time trying to figure out these narcissistic, toxic people. They had a job to do to destroy you, and they didn't do it. Their job is over. Next. After a while, that it becomes redundant, like it really becomes redundant on the same thing over and over. But the reality is, if you don't really face it and fess up and deal with it to heal from this thing, it's going to become a part of you. And now you're going to start adapting these narcissistic traits. You're going to start becoming your own toxic person. You're going to start to see that you're mimicking them now. You're mirroring them. You've become one of these narcissistic people, and you're going to start doing the things that they did. You know how sometimes a girl be like, yo, I was dogged out by a man or whatever, so now I'm just going to start dogging men too? You cannot ladies, you cannot do what a man do and still be a lady. It doesn't work like that. You can't do that. Let them do what they do. Let them do what they do. But the reality is, not because somebody hurt you means you should hurt somebody else. No, you need to heal from it and recognize that if somebody doesn't serve you no good, walk away, be out. It's not for you, then leave it alone. Hurt people, I get it. But you can heal people, heal people. Healthy people want to be with healthy people, because peace, my peace, my peace. Have your list, guys. Have your list of negotiables and non-negotiables. The things that are negotiable, you want to have that on a separate list from the things that are non-negotiables. And I'm telling you, my non-negotiable is my peace of mind. Please, I protect my peace with everything in me. I just want to be in peace. I am peace. I'm naturally peace. So do not come to me if you're not peaceful or already peace, because I will leave you behind in pieces. I'm peace, okay? So don't listen. Be your own peace. Be your own peace. And if someone is coming to you that's not peaceful, stop it right there. Don't even entertain it. I don't care. Don't entertain it. Because the more you allow someone to push up against your boundaries and start to leave a stain and start to damage your peaceful environment. And before you know it, you're now entertaining back that same repeated cycle of toxic people in your life. No. My peace is a non-negotiable, and that's something that's forefront. I don't care who you are, my peace. If I feel like my peace is being compromised, then I'm walking away from that situation. If I don't have to pick up the phone and call you. We don't have to talk. I'm just protecting my peace. And when you realize that people are around you and they constantly speak negative, they're never optimistic about anything. That's a red flag. That's a tell sign that you do not need to be around people like this. So if you're constantly around someone who never have anything positive to say, who's never uplifting, who's never encouraging, always negative, why it shouldn't be done, why it can't be done, why it won't be done, protect yourself. Protect your peace. Protect yourself from being around people like this. It's so important for you to, I'd rather be by myself and be peaceful than to be with a narcissistic, toxic person who's going to drive me crazy. Because even when you're in a relationship with a narcissistic person, in reality, that's the most single. That's the most single you will ever be. When you're in a relationship with one of these toxic, narcissistic people, you are more single than being in a relationship by yourself. They're not next to you. It's a body there, but there's no soul next to you. You're by yourself. You're alone. You're more lonely with them than by yourself. And I don't think people really understand the magnitude of these type of people that you're dealing with. You're not getting anything. You're not being fed. You're not being fed. So if your soul is not being fed, what are you getting out of it? How long before that sexual interaction ends? That one little second, like a couple seconds. How long before that ends? And what else do you have after that? Can y'all sit down and talk? Can y'all have conversation? Can y'all laugh together? Can y'all be in the same environment? Or do you just want to get up and go? Or they want to get up and go? Protect your peace. Protect your sanity. Protect your environment. It's most important for you to be able to put yourself first. Put yourself first. Care for you. Protect yourself. Cater to you. Start loving you again. Because if you don't love yourself and love who you are, you won't be able to love somebody else. You would not be able to do that. So I suggest to you guys tonight, if you haven't done so already, start with the love process on loving yourself, putting some time and some effort into you. Spend some quality time with you. Get to know who you are as a person. The more you know yourself is the more you'll be able to be yourself and to be able to show your partner, whoever you want to be with at a later time, right? To show them exactly who you are. But if you don't know who you are and you're still struggling to find your identity, that person is going to feel it. They're going to feel that imbalance. They're going to feel your uncertainty, and you might just push away a good partner. So do the work so you don't have to mess up a good thing. And how I say, listen, a win is a win. Let me put that up there. Listen, I don't care if it's by 2 seconds. A win is a win. A win is, it could have been a half a point, a penny. Listen, a win is a win. Y'all go ahead and put some likes in the chat. It was such a pleasure hanging out with y'all tonight. It was such a pleasure. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you. I'm doing my hearts in the chat right now to show some love and support. I really appreciate you guys a million. You guys have always been there supporting me and showing me love. And I can't help but say thank you so much. If you haven't already, guys, please go ahead and hit the like button. And if you haven't, you know what, if you don't have your notification on, turn on that notification bell. Please turn on the notification bell. This way it pops up on your phone whenever I put out a new video or new content, or even when I'm just going live, because sometimes I like to maybe do something spontaneous depending on the situation. So I don't know, because I don't know if you guys saw the video I did on, it might have been Wednesday evening. I had my daughter and her classmate on, and it was just a 30-minute video, but they were doing a little something, something, something. And I must tell you, I'm very impressed with these young ladies. They're going to be something in life, y'all. I'm very impressed with them. But let's continue to love upon each other, y'all. Let's continue to show each other love. Give grace. Don't be so hard on people. Like, take it easy. Give grace. Grace is given to us even when we're not deserving of it. We got grace. So extend grace to someone else. Don't be so hard. And don't even be so hard on yourself. Forgive yourself for the experience that you had. Forgive yourself for what you went through. But let it go and move on. You got to get to the next phase of this thing. Get to the other side of this. It's beautiful. It's absolutely amazing. I love you guys so much. Have an amazing night. Be blessed. Yes, Deborah, a win is a win. Okay? Good night, y'all. Love y'all so, so much. Have a blessed one. Enjoy your weekend. Remember, there's a fourth response phone in. What you talking about, Carol? What you talking about, Carol? Yeah, God bless you too, Kanita. I appreciate you, my love. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you again for spending your time with me, hanging out with me tonight. It's absolutely appreciated. And I can't thank you enough. Listen, when you're going through these traumatic experience, know that it is real and it's just your body letting you know that you need to face this thing. You need to overcome it. So just to recap, you have fight. Thank you, Carol. Fight, fight, flight, and freeze. Okay? Fight, flight, and freeze. So stop and think for a second. Because in order to overcome this and to not repeat the cycle, is to be patient. Exercise patient with yourself. Be very patient with yourself. And when you have that partner that you could trust and you guys have built a solid foundation and you could trust that partner is going to need patience too to be able to interact with you, because sometimes they might do something that they're not aware of and it might trigger you. It's not that you're going to be all the way squared and all the way right, but knowing that your partner knows how to nurture you and to be there for you, they're going to help you to get through these traumatic experiences that you have. And they're going to be able to be there to support you and to guide you through this experience that you're having. And that's why it's good when you have a healthy foundation, a healthy partner, and someone that you could be with, who you're able to be yourself with. So you could be vulnerable with this person. You could be transparent with them and let them know exactly what you went through. And if it's someone that's using it against you as a weapon, like I said, do not associate yourself. But if it's someone that is helping you to nurture what you've experienced and to help you to want to be better and you feel safe and protected around this person, I promise you, take time to nurture that person. Take time to nurture that seed and the bond that you guys got have going on, and watch it blossom into something absolutely beautiful. Protect your peace. As a recap, protect your peace, because it's absolutely important that you are grounded and balanced. Nothing is more sexy and attractive than a balanced man and a balanced woman. When you find a good man that is balanced, that is grounded, whoo, that's a whole different kind of sexy confidence, y'all. That sexy confidence, whoo, it stands out. Same thing, lady. When you're balanced and grounded and you're that man's peace and you're your own peace and you're his peace, that's something beautiful. A man finds that to be very irresistible. But if you're bitter and angry and toxic, nobody wants to be around you. Protect your peace. That's all you have. When all fails, your peace will be there to guide you. Your peace will be there to nurture you. That part of you that has been damaged and broken, your peace will be there to help you restore what was lost. You guys have a beautiful night. Again, I love you all so, so much. All day long. Yup. Peace all day long. I love it. Good night, y'all.